Greetings, it is Mike. It is time for my midweek movie review. This week is a newer horror movie. It's not new. It was released in 2014, but it is one that is on my shelf of never been watched, and I thought I would give it a watch. And the reason that I actually bought this movie was because of watching. I don't know if it was somebody on YouTube. It was on YouTube, but I don't know if it was like one of my friends, somebody I watch a lot, or if it was one of them Mojo or whatever. But they called this a brutal little gem that does not get talked about very often, and that is a movie called Blood Widow. Can you see that? All right, and as you can tell, she wears a wicked little mask, and she's good with a knife. So this movie, once again, was released in 2014. It was directed by Jeremiah Buckhalt, I think is how you say his name. He has not done a lot since this movie, or before or after, really. He was, pretty much new. This is kind of his claim to fame. The thing I remember about what the person said was that this movie was just where nobody survives. And it's just, once it gets going, it's pretty brutal. Of course, it's low budget. I don't ever remember hearing about this movie being released. But overall, pretty good. The main girl in this movie, the quote unquote final girl, is the Blood Widow, but the final girl to the end is an actress by the name of Danielle Lilly. She plays Lori in this movie. Lori and her boyfriend Hugh are a very successful couple. It doesn't really, it sounds like they're just boyfriend girlfriend. But they're doing very well for themselves, so they buy this little weekend home so that they can get out of the city and decompress. Well, Lori's not that thrilled with it. She, this is something that Hugh wants, and she's just going along with it. And it's really a cute little house out in the middle of absolutely nowhere, but yet right next door is some kind of like, it was the way the movie starts out is we're introduced to this family, whatever, and they there's a lot of death and destruction, and then that building where that house was becomes a children's something. I don't know if they said hospital or like an orphanage, or it had something to do with kids. I'm sorry, I'll have to watch it again, because to be quite honest with you, I was not completely engrossed in this movie at first. So yeah, there's some kind of building. It doesn't look, it looks like a nice little place when the kids buy their house. It's not like it's run down or anything, but the people that sell the house to Hugh and Lori tell them to stay away. Really bad stuff has happened there, and it's just best to leave it locked up and nobody mess with it. Lori's fine with that. Actually, I don't think Hugh really gave her, a second thought, but Hugh decides that he's going to have a big party. And so he invites, some of their friends, quite a few of their friends. And, they just have this big rave kind of party out there in the middle of nowhere. And once the party is over, that's when the majority of the action starts. So my positives on this movie was that the storyline was okay. I mean, it's pretty generic for a horror movie. You have this group of kids, city people, out in the middle of nowhere, and then you have some thing from the past that hides in the walls of a building come out and go after intruders. I mean, it's nothing new, but it was good. It was interesting. It was easy to follow. At least there was not like a million storylines going on at the same time. We pretty much had the main couple who fight a lot because he's still kind of in that party mode and she's kind of out of that party mode. Of course, you have her best friends. You have the main core kids that are young adults. They're not kids that are in the story. There were a couple that were interesting, basically more than one dimension, and that was the guy who played Mark, one of Hugh's best friends, who basically takes who's actually done quite a bit. Now Hugh and Laurie, those two actors, they really have not done much since. Actually, the guy who plays Hugh, he doesn't. This is it on his IMDb page. But the guy who played Mark has done a lot. He's even been in like The Walking Dead, and he has something in post-production right now. So he's been very active since this movie. And then there was a real interesting character. I liked her because she was definitely not your typical character in a horror movie. She was like a flower child, nature girl. She was funny and silly and loving and spiritual, but she still did drugs. So she was kind of, there was different facets of her character, and she's actually done quite a bit other than this movie. So for the most part, the acting was okay. Some was a little bit wooden, but that was about it. The special of the some of the effects were good, especially during some of the death scenes. They were really good. Some were like so fast that you didn't even realize. I mean, I had to rewind this one scene like 3 times because I'm like, who are these people and what the hell just happened to them? So yeah, if you don't pay attention to much, like during that party scene, it was just monotonous. So for me, so yeah, I just kind of have tuned out, and then all of a sudden there was craziness and I missed it. So I had to keep rewinding to find out who they were and what the hell happened. The gore was good. I will say that. The CGI was not that great in certain scenes, but the gore itself, pretty good. They had some really cool death scenes. We had decapitations. We had this, I don't know if it was like a whip made with like, I don't know, razor wire, something, I don't know, but the lead character gets whipped with this on her legs and it just cuts her up. And then later, there's a character who the Blood Widow wraps it around, whaps this guy in the head and it covers his face and she just rips it. So that was pretty gruesome. There were some really gruesome scenes. So yeah, I thought that was good. The gore was good. I loved the killer. I thought her mask was reminiscent of some of the other creepy masks that are out there. And the fact that it's a female killer, we don't get that very often, where we have this brutal female killer. She's just, we had one in Urban Legend, but she was interesting, but she was not quite as brutal as this one. Oh, she was pretty bad. But yeah, loved her. And then the ending was pretty good. Like I said, no one survives kind of a movie. So yeah, I was just thoroughly pissed at the girl at the end, but so not too bad. Now, as far as the negatives, there were a few. First of all, some of the characters were very one-dimensional. And really, it was just like, why are they even in this movie? It's just for the body count? I would rather you save that money to pay them and come up with a little more interesting storyline, but whatever. And the party scene was just, typical. It just was kind of boring. Some of the characters were actually pretty bad. This one guy in particular, I wish I could remember his name, but he was just such a putz, for any other word. He didn't care, he just reacted by screaming and acting like he didn't want to do this and he wasn't going to do that, and he was just going to hide until the people came to help them with the house the next day, because those people who sold the house were going to come back and do some work on the house with the couple. Yeah, he was annoying, but whatever. That's nitpicky. There were parts when the pacing wasn't that great. Like I said, that one scene with these two kids, I didn't even realize what the hell was happening. I didn't realize they had left the party, and I was watching the movie. Yeah, there are some pacing issues, but it's not bad enough to slow. It takes a while to get to it, so the beginning of the movie is kind of, it's fine for character development. If they would have actually developed some of these characters, even the ones I liked, there really wasn't a whole lot of character development. And then there were parts of the kill scenes where the CGI was bad. But other than that, not a bad movie. I would recommend it, especially if you like those kind of gritty, gritty, is that the word? No. If you like those movies that don't end in a positive note, you'll like this movie. I liked it, and I'm not always somebody who enjoys those kind of movies. But yeah, so give Blood Widow a shot. I would give it a B. Maybe a B minus. Yeah, pretty good for the most part. So that's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this review. If you've seen Blood Widow, let me know what you think in the comments below. Just let me know, do you like it? Have you seen it? Do you agree that it's like a brutal little horror movie that a lot of people don't talk about? Let me know. Talk to you later. Bye.